Detectives say it started with a robbery at the Mellow Mood Pipe Shop, ended in a gun being fired towards MSU's campus. Find out how they found the gun.
Are you going to be feeling pain at the pump after the attack on Saudi oil facilities? I'm Laura Podesta with details on what our president is saying both on gas prices and how the U.S. may or may not retaliate for the strikes.
Good morning to you and welcome to your Tuesday. I'm Missy O'Malley with Chet Lehman. Matt Elwa has our soggy Tuesday, kind of chilly forecast. We'll talk about that in a moment. Right now, Cody Boyer just mentioned it. A Belgrade man is in custody after police say he fired a gun at a smoke shop employee.
An employee at the store tried to stop Matthew Norlander, and it took a dangerous turn. MTN's Cody Boyer has the rest of that story.
We got lucky that nobody was injured.
An attempted robbery in broad daylight. That's what court documents show what happened Sunday before 6 o'clock here at Mellow Mood Pipe and Tobacco.
Obviously a public safety risk, firing around in the direction of somebody.
Witnesses say Matthew Norlander went into the shop stealing a $400 water pipe and a pack of Juul vape pods, and then he ran. But a Mellow Mood employee was hot on his heels. According to court documents, the employee caught up with the suspect out here behind the shop. That's when detectives say the man pulled out a gun, pointed it at the victim, crooked it just to the side, and then fired towards the dorms and even worse, towards a packed soccer field.
The soccer fields across Lincoln were populated. We are still looking for the bullet.
Police say they found Norlander fitting the suspect's description minutes later near the MSU duck pond. After a short foot chase, detectives say Norlander got on his knees and surrendered, but no gun in sight.
We dedicated all kinds of resources last night to try to locate the gun. We had dog tracks. We eventually did locate it with the help of some nearby video surveillance.
Norlander appeared quiet, at times shaking his head in Gallatin County Justice Court. His bail, over $500,000, charged with parole violation following 6 past burglary convictions.
I do find a credible threat to society and the fact that you have not been in obedience with the court orders that you've been under for the last couple of years.
Looking at where the bullet may have landed, a situation that police say could have ended so much worse.
I hate to say we dodged a bullet, but we dodged a bullet.
In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
Now, Cody was able to speak with the staff of Mellow Mood, who say none of their staff were hurt, and they say they're glad someone was caught. Detectives were able to find the gun near the shop sometime around 10:30 yesterday morning.
I'm glad they found it.
Glad no one was hurt.
Yeah, no one was hurt. Dodged a bullet.
That could have been far
I don't want to
worse.
say we dodged a bullet, but we dodged a bullet.
It could have been far worse for sure. Yeah.
Doesn't look like we're going to dodge much of that wetness
You're going to be dodging raindrops is what you're going to
Yeah.
be doing. Temperatures this morning actually fairly mild, into the 50s. We've had some showers and thunderstorms last night and early this morning. Most of those showers are gone. You don't see anything real heavy. Most of the rain that we pick up today is going to be on the lighter side and probably come for the first half to 2/3 of your day. Mainly cloudy by the afternoon. Our skies begin to clear. Temperatures topping out around 60-degree mark as you head into the day. There will be a little wind for a few areas. We're going to break down your complete forecast, of course, from the Billion Auto Weather patio in just a few minutes.
Thank you for that, Matt. We mentioned this yesterday. Gas prices are expected to jump 10 to 25 cents a gallon after last week's attack on Saudi Arabian oil plants.
President Trump says it looks like Iran is to blame for the attack, but held off on definitively blaming them. CBS's Laura Podesta has the latest this morning from New York.
We don't want to panic.
President Trump downplayed the impact of the Saudi oil attack on gas prices last night in New Mexico.
But a few years ago, they would have been in a panic. Today, we got a lot of oil, we got a lot of gas.
Earlier at the White House, the commander-in-chief suggested Iran is behind last weekend's attack on 2 Saudi Arabian oil plants.
It's certainly looking that way at this moment.
And while he added that he'd like to avoid military conflict,
Do I want war? I don't want war with anybody.
he left the door open to an armed response.
It could be met with an attack many, many times larger very easily by our country, but we're going to find out who definitively did it.
The administration released satellite images of the damage. It caused the biggest oil disruption in history, reducing global output by 5%. Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen claimed responsibility, but Iran denied any involvement. Saudi Arabia says Iranian weapons were used and has invited the United Nations in to investigate.
We are very concerned that incidents similar to this may may provoke larger conflicts.
On Capitol Hill, Democrats urged caution and patience.
We are under no obligation to defend Saudi Arabia.
There's no circumstance right now where a war with Iran would be a good idea.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is expected to visit Saudi Arabia soon to discuss the attack. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
By the way, President Trump said the U.S. is prepared to dip into the strategic oil reserves if it is needed.
And one person is dead after an early morning crash south of Anaconda. This was yesterday morning around 5 a.m. A log hauling truck was stopped on Mill Creek Road between Anaconda and Wisdom. When the truck started to roll backwards, it went down an embankment, crashed, and then caught fire. The driver, who Montana Highway Patrol says is from the area, was not able to escape the cab. The incident is still under investigation.
And a Butte man could face more than a decade in prison after driving while under the influence of drugs, hitting a car, and then threatening to harm police. According to court documents, Michael St. Pierre, you see him there, is charged with DUI, along with a list of misdemeanors involving spitting in a deputy's face and then resisting arrest. Witnesses told Gallatin County Sheriff's deputies they spotted St. Pierre's car weaving in and out of oncoming traffic on Norris Road near Four Corners. Deputies also say he forced several cars off the road, even clipped one of their mirrors, changing speeds from extremely slow to more than 100 miles per hour at times. When deputies did pull him over, court documents say he struggled, threatening to kill them and claiming, quote, he had bodies on him.
He was driving erratically from speeds as slow as 2 to 3 miles per hour up to 100. Multiple people called in his driving behavior because they were deeply concerned about the safety.
Now, investigators say while he had a medical marijuana card, St. Pierre admitted to being on marijuana, Xanax, and Seroquel at the time.
Staying in the court system, police in Butte are accusing James Rigby of charging and trying to tackle a police officer as he was being arrested Sunday afternoon on warrants. Officers got Rigby on the ground but had to use a taser to subdue him before taking him to jail, where he allegedly made threats against police. He remains in jail on felony assault charges.
And Northwestern Energy recently received national recognition for having a green-friendly headquarters building in Butte. Yeah, the U.S. Green Building Council awarded the utility company the Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design Gold Certificate for its headquarters building in Uptown, which opened in 2015. The award recognizes the building for its energy efficiency, water use reduction, use of recyclable materials, and other sustainability issues.
We're very proud of this award. We, as I think all of our stakeholders know, we're very involved in doing things that are sustainable and doing things from an energy conservation standpoint.
Now, officials say that the company has reduced its energy consumption in the new building by 55% compared to the old building on Broadway.
It is a very cool building.
It is a cool building.
Enjoyed my tour of that very much.
Yep.
Congratulations to them.
Yep.
6:38 now as world leaders come together for next week's landmark United Nations Climate Action Summit. CBS News is digging into the issue.
Hillary Lane has a look at a technique that's being called the future of farming. It uses waste from fish to fertilize crops.
So the freshest, cleanest kale that you probably would have ever encountered.
Kale is growing inside this high school lab in New York City, and they're not using traditional soil and sun. The crops are grown indoors all year round, using just fish and water.
There are no pesticides, there are no fungicides, all nice and clean.
It's a sustainable farming technique called aquaponics. In a controlled environment, the waste from the fish provides the nutrients crops need to grow. And in turn, the crops purify the water for the fish.
Is this healthy kale to eat?
This is healthy kale to eat. You could eat it just as is. Probably don't even have to wash it.
Dr. Philson Warner manages Cornell University Cooperative Extension's aquaponics lab. He first began studying this technology 40 years ago, but he says it's picking up steam now as more people are interested in locally sourced food. Also, the world's population is climbing, and this is a way to produce more food in less space. No farmland needed.
Do you see this as the farming of the future?
This is the future.
Whole Foods Market in Brooklyn stocks greens from a local aquaponics operation. Produce coordinator Brandy Brady says the sustainable system is in tune with Whole Foods' mission and reduces both waste and contamination.
It keeps the carbon footprint down, so we're nourishing the planet by reducing the overall waste.
This mini ecosystem requires about 90% less water than traditional crop production. And with the intensifying threat of climate change, that could make aquaponics the wave of the future. Hillary Lane, CBS News, New York.
Wow. Now, experts estimate there are between 800 and 1,200 home aquaponics systems in the United States. That's pretty cool.
It's very cool. They work together as a nice system.
I'm telling you, I'm always learning something.
It's cool stuff.
Yep. We got to take a break. Don't touch that dial in just a moment.